It's time to grow and scale your coaching business the impact-driven, simple and sustainable way. Welcome to Rising Coaches with Sofia Bernardi. I'm your host, Sofia, mindset and business coach, supporting ambitious new and rising coaches to master their mindset, create an aligned and profitable strategy, and grow a six-figure business and beyond using the Rising Coach method. I built $1 million business by the age of 26 in under 4 years, and I've coached hundreds across the globe to build incredible businesses that create freedom and fulfillment whilst having a whole lot of fun along the way. And in this podcast, I will teach you the mindset, strategy, and energetics to do the same. Let's dive in. Happy 2024. I hope you had the most magical Christmas and New Year's and you're feeling energized and refreshed and excited for what this year brings. I'm honestly so excited. Full transparency, I am recording this a couple of weeks before New Year's, so it's still 2023 for me, but I wanted to be really organized so that I didn't have to rush into the new year, but you would still get your hands on some juicy episodes. So I'm a little bit organized, but I'm still feeling that 2024 energy already. I'm so excited. I really love to use the last couple of weeks of December to reflect on the year and start setting my goals and my intentions and my word for the year and planning it out and even actioning it a couple of weeks before the new year. You know, for a long time, I was that type of person that just waited for the perfect time, like the first of the month or the first of the year or a Monday to do things. And now my perspective has really shifted in the fact that, you know, that now is always the best time. And I just don't want to rush into the new year. So I like to be organized and be a couple of weeks early with not only the planning of my goals, but also recording of this episode. So hello, happy 2024 to you. I am so excited for the both of us. We're going to have the most magical, expansive, energizing, abundant year ever. I can just feel it. And I do say that most years, but every year, in my opinion, just keeps getting better and better and better. So we're going to have an epic year. And I thought, what a way to start the podcast for 2024 with my word for the year and my goals for the year, because this year I want to bring you behind the scenes at an even deeper level where I really take you behind the scenes into my life and my progress and what I'm going through so that I can take you along that journey, normalize your experiences, validate your experiences, and hopefully educate, inspire, and empower you along the way to maybe do the same in your life of staying on track with your goals, being really intentional about your goals, and making the most of your life, because honestly, we never know when our time's up. And I know that can be a really scary thought, but I think it's reality. And so I'm all about making the most of every single moment, because you just don't know what life has planned for you and what your timeline looks like. So why not make the most of it for yourself and for others, right? So I'm really excited about this episode because I don't know about you, but I'm making 2024 my best year yet. And in order to do that, you have to be intentional and you have to have goals in place. So that being said, every year I do these episodes, by the way, so you can go back and listen to all my previous ones if you want. But let's dive into this energy for this year, right? You can listen to them after. So every year I set a word for the year as an overall general and broad kind of intentional theme for each year. I've only done this for a couple of years because that's when I learned about it. So I think 2022 was my first time and I chose the word expansion for that year. And it was a very expansive year. So that was beautiful. And then last year in 2023, I actually had two words. I had simplify and amplify, but they very much worked hand in hand, and that's why I decided on those two. And I was sitting for a couple of days. I'm like, what is my word for 2024? What do I want that to look like and feel like and be like? And I was sitting on it and I was talking to a girlfriend on the phone, and through me just voicing things out, I said a particular word and I was like, oh my God, that's the word. And I feel so good about it. So my word for 2024 is intention. Oh, love the word. Love it. My why for the word intention or intent or intentionality, however you want to see it, is to have more presence and intentionality in my life, as well as following through on my commitments, goals, boundaries, and decisions, you know. And it's quite funny because more often than not, I follow through on everything I say and I do. if you listen to a lot of my goals, podcasts and things like that, like I reach a lot of my goals. There's definitely goals I don't reach because I also am a big believer in setting really big, expansive and stretchy goals. And so I'm okay. It's about the journey there. But I do follow through with a lot of what I say. If I say I'm going to do something, like I freaking do it more often than not. However, like all of us, we've got our shadows, we've got our little blocks, we've got our blind spots and things like that. And there are definitely a few things that I say I'm going to do that I don't do. I found in particular, for whatever reason, that's with my health. I am definitely consistent in many areas of my health, but there's certainly a few little areas where I slip up and I say I'm going to do something and I don't do it as much, just full transparency. In my business though, pretty much follow through on everything. Same with my relationship, same with my wealth and things like that. But health has definitely been a little tester, I suppose, because it's not just one thing, right? It's an accumulation of multiple habits that you have to build and be consistent in order to get results there. And I just thought, do you know what? I don't want to be that person that says I'm going to do something and then not do it, or have the same goal year and year again in certain areas of my life. And I also want to be really present and just, have literally that intention behind everything that I do. So I'm only saying yes to what I want and then saying no to what I don't want. And I'm just having a lot more meaning behind everything that I do, because I think presence is so important when it comes to making the most of every moment and getting the outcome that you want. It requires that you respond rather than react. It requires that you are present and self-aware and aware in general in order to pick up on things and make the most of things and so forth. And so I thought intentionality is this beautiful word where it's not fixating me to be a certain ways, because I was thinking of a word like peace or calm or something like that, but I was like, actually, like, I don't feel like this is the year for me to like slow down even further. I already have a very spacious business that's full of so much freedom, and I'm young, I'm 26 and I don't have children yet. I'm so excited to do so, but I'm not quite in that stage of life. And so for me, it didn't feel right to really slow down. If anything, right now, I want to capitalize on my age and my energy and how I'm feeling in my stage of life and really go for it. But I didn't feel like 2024 is meant to be the year that I just like hustling to the ground. I wanted to be able to choose whether I wanted to be in that spaciousness and slowness or in that go-getting energy. And so it didn't feel right to choose a word that would lean too much to one side. And that's why the word intention feels so good to me, because it means I get to choose in that very given moment what it is I want to feel like and what it is I want to do or not do, and just be really present and intentional along the way. So that feels really solid to me. So that's the word I've chosen. And from there, so once you choose your word and you choose why that's your word, then you can start to write down what's that going to look like from an action perspective. Like, what are you going to do and what are you going to stop doing to really live congruently with that theme or that word for the year? So I've listed a whole few list of things so far that I'm going to do or stop doing already that feels really good for me. So if you've never set a word or a theme for the year, I highly recommend it. It's really fun because it's quite different to a goal. A goal is very specific and tangible and measurable and quite masculine, whereas a word or a theme is very broad and general and more flowy, and it's just fun to see how it evolves and shows up in different areas if you're present with it and, check in on that word throughout the year, of course, which I always like to do. So that is my word, intention, to just have more presence, and just following through on the things that I say I'm going to do. So if I say I'm going to not be on my phone after a certain hour, I want to actually follow that rather than knowing I'm not following it and just doing that anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the energy that we're going for here. So that's one thing. Now, my goals for the year. Usually, if you've been following me for a long time, you'll know that I'm a big believer on less is more, having 2 really big goals, because that's going to have a beautiful flow on effect in many areas of your life anyways. And so I do have 2 really big goals, but I did set an additional 3 like specific smaller goals as well. Just because I was really trusting that. I was just listening to that. I'm like, I feel like I can handle pouring majority of my energy into 2 goals in particular, and knowing that the other 3 are definitely a byproduct and a flow and effect from that. But I still wanted to be really specific about it again, so I actually do it and follow through on that and just have the awareness, like, this is what I said I wanted at the start of 2024. And it will just be beautiful to reflect back on, like, whether those things ended up being a byproduct of it, and, you know, whether I did follow through it on all the things. Like, I love listening back to my podcast episodes, you know, every year with these kinds of episodes. And so I just wanted to put it out there rather than not. But definitely 2 goals are significantly bigger than the other ones. And that's where a lot of my capacity will be. So I still very much believe in less is more and not setting too many goals. But I think 5 is very manageable, knowing that, again, a few of them are a lot smaller and more manageable. So yeah, and I'm really big believer in setting goals in different areas of your life as well. So last year I only had 2 goals, but this year I've got 5. So here we go. Let's dive in on them. And also, just before I do, actually, what I'm planning on doing, or what I intend to do, is every month give you an update for this year. Give you an update on my goals, where I'm at, what's working, what's not, what am I struggling with, and just track it along the way. Just so for my own sake, again, the accountability to be able to look back on it, journal on it, and all of the things, but also just like really be in integrity and a walking example of, like, when you set something, like, this is a way that you can follow through on it. And I find when I share it out with the world, I'm way more likely to honor that. So that's why I'm telling you right now, I'm going to do an episode every month where I break down where I'm at on this journey. And I'm nervous about that. Truly, I'm nervous because I'm scared that some months not much progress is going to happen, and I'm going to be just having really boring episodes of, like, hey, look, I've actually gone backwards this month in relation to the goal, or whatever it may be. I'm going to have to be really vulnerable and transparent, but hey, I'm here for it. Like, if that's what I actually value and believe in, then I need to walk my talk on that. So I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to share it transparently, and we'll see what happens from there. Anyways, what are my goals? So firstly is a business goal. My goal is to earn 600,000 Australian dollars in cash by December 31st, 2024 or sooner. This is a big stretch. If I'm being completely honest, I don't know right now in this moment how much I did in sales for 2024. So not cash, but I know what I did in cash, but I don't know what I did in sales, because a lot of people pay on payment plans with the way I've designed my business model, which I really love, which means that, you know, that number is much greater than the actual cash collected because it comes over several months and so forth. And so I'm not sure how far away we were, or whether we exceeded, actually, which we probably did, to be honest, the $600,000 in sales. So I've done that, but I haven't made $600,000 in a 12-month period in cash. So it's actually landed in my bank account. And that is going to be my aim, is to have that as cash collected, meaning it's literally gone into my bank account. So sales will be much greater than 600,000 given I accomplish or achieve or complete that goal, right? So that is goal number 1, is to earn 600,000 Australian dollars in cash by December 31st, 2024 or sooner. The reason why that is my goal is to feel more abundant, more secure, more powerful, and more inspiring to others. That is my reasonings. It's all based on emotion, to feel certain things, because that's actually what drives human behavior, is like we want to feel something or avoid feeling something, right? And so that's my reason why, and I'm super excited. How am I feeling about this goal? So it feels like a stretch because, like I said, I have not actually reached that before in a 12-month period cash collected. I've been more closer to the $400,000 mark cash collected, but not $600,000. So that would be, you know, an additional $200,000 in cash in a 12-month period, which is, you know, significant. But that being said, I am growing all of the time, so it's definitely doable. So it's a mixture of a stretch, but not near impossible. And I like to be stretched. Am I attached to the outcome? Absolutely not. But am I going to do everything in my power to create that result? You best believe I am. So really excited about that. And we're going to see how that unfolds. And I've definitely got actions that I'm already doing. I know how many clients I need to sign, given I don't change the pricing. I will, but but I know at this current investment rate, how many I need to sign. I've got that number of post-it notes on the side of my bookshelf, ready to put people's beautiful names there when they join my program. And I'm just really here for this. So that's how I'm feeling. It's definitely feeling like a stretch, especially sharing it publicly. But I also know that I'm so here for the journey, not the end result. The end result is a beautiful byproduct. The journey is what actually matters, who I become in the process of doing that. And the way that I can show that to you is that I'm sharing it, right? I'm sharing it knowing that there's a good chance I won't reach it. But because I'm here for the journey and how it allows me to grow and evolve, I'm happy to share it, right? Because that's what it's really about. That's goal number 1. That's definitely going to be a big focus. So that's one of the bigger goals. The second goal. If you're enjoying this episode, then I'd greatly appreciate it if you're not already, if you could take a moment to hit that subscribe button. Your support fuels our mission to bring you even more valuable content every week. My promise to you is that if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, I'll continue making incredible episodes each week that help you to grow and scale your coaching business. Thank you so much, and let's get back to the episode. The second goal is around my health, and that is to weigh 65 kilos by December 31st, 2024 or sooner. Now, I was hesitant with writing this goal because for me, it's not so much about the number on the scale and more about how I feel about myself and how I feel energetically and strength-wise. That's what's more important. And I know that with goals, the more specific you are, knowing that feelings ebb and flow. Yes, some can remain more, permanent and whatever, but things do chop and change. I wanted something that was going to be really measurable that I'd be able to track. So am I attached to that weight? Not really, in the sense that I could get to 70 kilos and be like, damn, I'm so happy with where I'm at. I don't need to change anything. In fact, I don't want to be any smaller than that, and also what muscle weighs more than fat. I could get super strong and be like, it would be unhealthy to be any less than that given the muscle I have. And there's so many factors, right? So I'm taking this one with a grain of salt, but I'm still going to strive for it with everything that I have and however I evolve over the next 12 months, whether I becomes that doesn't even become desirable or it becomes something else the amount of muscle I have or body fat percentage or whatever, then I will let that evolve. But I wanted to just land on something that feels true for me right now, and all of the things. This is a scary goal. This is my second really big goal. So the 2 I've just shared are the big ones. The 3 other ones are a lot more doable, but still important to me. So yeah, I am on that journey, but I want to do it sustainably. I want to do it in a way that I love and I feel good because, with my personality type, what comes more naturally to me is to do these really intense challenges. I've done 75 hard. I did several podcast episodes on that. You can go search that and find that if you want. I've done marathons. I've done half marathons. I do really intense things because I thrive off challenges. Whereas this is very much because it's not so much about the weight loss goal specifically or reaching that milestone, but more just looking after my body in all of the ways more and more and more. I want to do this a sustainable way rather than through some sort of intense challenge. I want to do it just through my lifestyle. So I'm the most confident and happy I've been with my body in a long time. I've done a lot of healing work in the last 12 months and I've, really developed a strong relationship with my body and I've been losing weight. Again, not that I was severely overweight or even overweight at all to begin with or anything like that. However, I definitely had weight that I didn't want to carry. I found that, my body really changed at the beginning of COVID, just because that was when I started my business. I stopped working in hospitality where I was standing up and walking around for 12 hours every single day. And then all of a sudden was running an online business and at home 24/7 where we sometimes couldn't leave the house. And it's by no means an excuse whatsoever, but I noticed that that's where things started to change because my lifestyle changed. And so whilst my eating habits or any of those things didn't necessarily change, my lifestyle did. And so now that I very much run an entirely online business where it's very easy to not move in a day, I've had to incorporate this new lifestyle that I've had to work towards of making sure that I go for a big walk every day and move my body and all of these sorts of things, and be more mindful of what I'm eating and things like that, because it matters more, one, as you grow older, but also with the change of lifestyle, like I'm not walking around for 12 hours every day and doing all of these things. So I definitely could like burn less energy than I used to. And that's okay. So I'm just like adapting. But I've done a lot of work on the relationship that I have with my body, and I feel really good. But again, like I think it's fun to like strive for something of like just seeing how you can stretch yourself and feel even better. And I don't believe I need to be carrying all of the weight that I am, right? Like not all of it is necessary. But yeah, I'm in a really good place with that. And I just want to sustainably move towards that direction. So yeah, that's my health goal. And yeah, my why for that is to feel confident, to feel sexy, to feel energized, and to feel really regulated. So it's a lot about nervous system regulation and energy, which I have a lot of, but you know, I want it to just like, yeah, go to the next level. I just have a really high standard for my life, and I always just want like bigger and better and more in the best, most healthiest ways possible, right? So yeah, that's my big health goal. How am I feeling about it? I'm feeling pretty good due to the detachment around it, knowing that it could change in terms of like, I might move towards that and realize that that's not really what I want, but I just didn't really know how else to write a specific health goal. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty detached, but I'm also, as I said at the beginning of this episode, this is probably the area where I am not always as consistent as other areas. And that's something that I really, really want to change in 2024 is like being super consistent, mostly with my eating. My movement has always been consistent, you know, of like I go for a walk every single day, and anything else is an extra or bonus, should I say. But definitely with eating, like, and now that I have a lot more education around what's actually good for you and what's not, and how my body feels and all of these sorts of things, I'm just excited to apply that consistently, and knowing that there'll be mindset work that comes with that. So feeling detached, feeling pretty good, a little bit nervous, I suppose, just because of my patterns in the last few years around my health goals. But I know that I can do it. So yeah, that's how I'm feeling. The third goal is a relationship goal, because it's funny, I was really struggling to come up with a goal with this one, because relationships, an intimate relationship in particular, is like the most important area in my life. And yet, because you're dealing with like another person and a relationship is based on feelings and things like that, I couldn't think of a goal. Like, how do you write a specific, tangible, measurable goal for something as, you know, emotional as a relationship? And so this was really hard, but I wanted to have a goal. Like I desired to have a goal for it because it is the most important area of my life. And so it would feel really weird to like have it be the most important priority in my life and yet it not be a goal there. So I was talking to Geordie back and forth about what goal we could have collectively together. And the reason why I said that this is a smaller goal is because we already do what I'm about to say very consistently, and it's just going to be about doing this to another level this year and ensuring that that remains. But we've been doing this our entire relationship, more or less, so I'm not nervous about this goal at all. But basically the goal is to have weekly date nights, quarterly weekend trips, and an annual week-long holiday. So that's 52 date nights, 4 weekend trips, and 1 week-long holiday. Now, we've done this the last couple of years. Sure, we may have missed a week here and there and so forth. But other than that, we've been super consistent, and it's a really beautiful thing that we do in our relationship and have done for several years. So not nervous at all about, you know, how this is going to pan out. And my why for it is to feel connected, to feel fulfilled, in love, and present. Now, the reason I put it as a goal, though, in the sense of like, you might be wondering, why have you put it a goal though if you already do it every year? And I suppose it's just the accountability aspect of it, of ensuring we do maintain it. And then the other thing is sometimes Geordie and I are apart for several weeks because he's traveling or I'm traveling or we're both traveling or whatever. And when we're apart, we don't have our weekly date nights. But what we've decided to do together is when we are apart, we're still going to have our weekly date night and just do it on like a FaceTime basically. So we're both going to just get takeaway and eat dinner together on FaceTime. So rather than just like using being away as a reason why we can't have a date night, instead we're just going to change the way that date night looks like. And then obviously when we're together, we can do in-person fun things and things like that. But rather than not seeing each other's faces for sometimes up to a few weeks, when that happens, like now when we're not using that as a reason why we can't feel deeply connected. We of course phone call each other all the time. Geordie would say 24/7 if you asked him, but we don't do video calls that much. And so we want to make a habit of that so that we're having date night no matter what. So that's really the goal there. Not feeling stressed at all. In fact, I'm really excited about it. So that's that. My fourth goal is a wealth goal. So I wanted to have this separate as more of a personal thing rather than a professional thing. So it's around money again, but for, personal reasons. So my goal is to invest 100,000 Australian dollars in shares and save a minimum of 200,000 Australian dollars by December 31st, 2024 or sooner. So that's a collective of $300,000 that I want to have that I'll gain from the business that I distribute in those ways. As something additional to what I've already got. So I've already got a lot of money in shares and my bank account and things like that, but I want to add this as an addition to what I've already got. I wanted to be really specific and clear there so I remember in a year's time what I was specifically meaning rather than being like, well, I have $200,000 there now, but if that's counting last year, no, that doesn't count. So that is my goal, just because I want to be really consistent with investing like every single month in shares. And I do believe it's important to have, an abundance of savings as well. So my reasonings why behind this is to feel secure, to feel growth, and to feel intelligent. So that's why I'm doing that. And I did my best to calculate based on like after tax, after expenses, with what I'm intending to earn, the $600,000, that this amount of money would line up. And I believe it does. Like if you take away tax, you take away expenses, wage, whatever, I believe if I was to reach my business goal that I would also be able to reach this in savings and investments and things like that. So that feels really good. Am I nervous about it? Not really. I'm not, because like, as I said, I already feel really secure when it comes to finances in many ways. And I know that I could change my mind. Who knows? I might buy a house. I might buy an investment property. I might do all sorts of things. And as long as it's going towards growth and expansion in one way or another, then I'm fine with that. So I'm not really attached, but I would still say it's a stretch. Like it's still a lot of money personally, but it's so hard to know. Like I never would have realized what was possible for me in 2023, and so I know that the same is possible for 2024. So that's the wealth goal. And then the final goal is a podcast goal. So my goal is to reach 30,000 podcast downloads by December 31st, 2024 or sooner. This feels like a stretch, but also very doable considering my audience continues to grow each and every month. So my why behind this is to help build more trust with my audience, build authority, build more impact, more connections, and generate sales. So that's my podcast goal. The podcast is important to me, and given my word for 2024 is intention, I wanted to have this goal because I don't want to just post podcast episodes every single week and not be intentional about the bigger long-term game. And so I thought if I'm going to be intentional, then I need to be clear, right, on what it is I actually want from that. So whilst it's a business goal, I just wanted to separate it so that I make sure to focus on it all throughout the year and be intentional, right? So they're my 5 goals. So let me just summarize. My word for 2024 is intention. And my 5 goals for 2024 is to earn 600,000 Australian dollars in cash, to weigh 65 kilos, to go on a date every week with my beautiful boyfriend, a quarterly trip and an annual trip, and to invest $100,000 in shares, save a minimum of $200,000, and reach 30,000 podcast downloads. They are my 2024 goals. I'm going to record an episode every single month, updating you with where I'm at, whether it's good or bad or something in between. I'm going to share that journey with you because I'm here for the long run, and I hope that you are too. If you enjoyed this episode, please let me know. Come chat to me on Instagram. I'm at Sofia Rose Bernardi. If you believe like you're going to love these kinds of episodes, or you know someone that would, share the word, because as I said, I'm going to be really consistent on keeping you in the loop for this journey. And if you don't believe me, in 2018, I had a YouTube channel. It's still up there today. You could go binge watch it if you wanted, where I recorded a YouTube video, an unedited raw video every single week for 52 weeks. And it was a segment called 52 Weeks of Personal Growth. That ended up being an extremely difficult year for me. Like everything you can imagine went wrong. That was my growth year. It was literally my year of personal growth. It was so good timing. And I documented literally the hardest times in my life on camera. It was not pretty or fun. So if you want to go binge watch them, you can, because it really feels like a reality show at points. But, and I tried to be as transparent as possible, but there was obviously a lot of heartache that went behind the scenes of that year that just was barely possible to even show. So that was little 21-year-old Sofia, 20-year-old Sofia, that filmed that journey. And this is not going to be the same. This is monthly as opposed to weekly, and definitely presented and packaged differently. But that was a really, ended up, whilst it was a really challenging year, 2018, I'm so grateful I documented it, because that ended up being an extremely pivotal, important year. And thankfully the year ended very well, but all in the middle, it was one of the toughest years of my life, actually. So there's that. So if I can show up consistently for that in the hardest year of my life, I can show up for this when my mindset, my life, my world is so different. I have the tools, whereas there I was learning the tools. So yeah, I know that I'm going to be consistent with this, and I'm super excited. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next episode. Although I can't see each one of you, I know you're there because of the downloads we see each week, and I appreciate your presence immensely. If something in this episode resonated with you, I'd be thrilled to hear about it. Connect with me on Instagram at Sofia Rose Bernardi. Share your key takeaways or simply say hello. Your thoughts mean the world to me. Remember, it's your feedback that keeps this show going. Until next time, take care.